Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today. So as Kaylee referenced, I am the faculty director for the MS Finance program and also a professor in the finance department. So I came to UB just over a year ago after spending a career in investment consulting and wealth management in upstate New York, working for private banks and small registered investment firms, as well as offshore in Bermuda and Grand Cayman for a period of time. So learning some about the international wealth management space as well. With that, we'll get started. So we're just going to talk about the program. I think particular importance is the action learning or experiential learning opportunities, a little bit about the community at UB, and some of the topics that we have. Robust resources in career preparation in the Career Resource Center that's dedicated to school management. We'll talk later about tuition and fees and admissions if needed, as needed. So you can see how UB stacks up. Our finance program is a CFA affiliated program. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And we rank very well. Obviously, in SUNY, we're the #1 business school. And we've got AACSB accredited, top 10%. And we do have that micro credential in finance, so we'll talk about later. Also coming to UB, you are part of a Tier 1 research university. And the University of Buffalo is a member of the Association of American Universities, which is a prestigious list. There's only 71 universities in North America accepted to that. It's by invitation only, and it's the only universities that are invited are Tier 1 research universities. So university-wide, we have a very high profile in that regard. And you can see on the bottom some of our fellow members, our big names that we all know. So I think that's important to understand the context of the university. Also, the MS Finance program, we, for the first time, applied for a ranking with the Financial Times. And we were ranked number 60th in the world. There was only 6 U.S. universities on that list. So we're very proud to be on the list, and we'll hopefully be moving up that list rapidly now that we've started to participate. So I think that's another feather in our cap, if you will. So the overview of the program, as you expect, we're going to do a lot of analytical skills, tools that you're going to learn in the classroom, and then hopefully apply, whether through an internship or other experiential learning opportunities that we'll talk about. There's a robust network. Our alumni are very supportive of our programs, of our graduates, and you'll have access to that alumni network. In fact, the alumni network is why I came back to UB to teach, because someone I knew from the UB School of Management Alumni Association from many years ago was working in one of the offices, and I reached out to her to see if there were opportunities at UB. And she connected me with our department chair, Professor Tu, and that's how I ended up taking on this role. Real Money Investment Group, we'll talk about Therese Kelly Investment Group, Supervised Research, your 2 capstone courses, and a couple other new initiatives where students can really get their hands on experience applying those tools you learn in the classroom to real research and real world issues. So as you probably know, we've got a 36-hour credit or 36 total credit hours in this program. So normally it takes 3 semesters to complete. We've got 24 of those are core, which we'll talk about, and 12 electives. So the 2 main tracks are the financial risk management track and the quantitative finance track. Under each of those tracks, there is an option to have a fintech focus. So some students want to do more in the technology space, more of the database, big data, large language models, and web scraping, and some more of that real applied technology in finance. And some want to be more at the higher level in quantitative or risk management. All are good options. The fintech options, if you follow those, your electives will be a little bit narrower because of the focus area. So you'll have to stay focused in that area. But both of the main tracks, you pick one of those tracks, and then you can decide whether or not to add the fintech focus to either one. And depending on what you want to do, one might make more sense than the other. I would say financial risk management is probably more suited to the investment management industry, wealth management, investment consulting, working in asset management, private equity, private credit, hedge funds, mutual funds, big investment houses like BlackRock. The quantitative finance track gets more into the quantitative methods, and that's more for sort of the modeling, the optimization, some of the things behind the scenes that drive portfolio management on the front end. The core curriculum, everyone will take investment management, a derivatives class, fixed income. You can see the cores, all the core requirements. And then the capstone courses, choose one, either focus supervised research in fixed income or in equities. And both are very robust capstone courses that give you that real in-depth research into those asset classes, constructing portfolios of those securities. So a real hands-on type of experience in that capstone. So if you want all the details, I'm not going to go through all the minutia on the slides here, but this is, and we have our curriculum planner available on the website as well. So you can see the whole thing, which includes all of the potential electives for each track. And if you're fintech focused, it will highlight all of those potential electives, which do differ slightly across the two tracks and the fintech focus areas. You add the fintech, you can see it doesn't look much different on the top, but some of those elective courses will look quite different. And similarly for quantitative finance, again, very similar core with one difference, I think, is financial modeling. You have to take in quantitative track. It's an option in FRM. And then the electives, we can share more about that. And then with the fintech, again, your elective courses are a little narrower, but you still have those electives available. So action learning, I think this is one of the things that makes us stand out and our MS Finance program stand out amongst others around the country and around the world, is that we do have a very robust and continuing to grow our action learning or experiential learning platform. So as I mentioned, we're a CFA affiliated university. So that means that 75 to 80% of our curriculum needs to follow the candidate body of knowledge. So you will find that your courses, whatever track you choose, are highly aligned with the CFA curriculum. So if you want to take the CFA exam, you'll be getting great exposure along the way academically. But even if you don't, obviously the CFA Institute has been doing this a long time. And not only do they have their full staff of researchers, PhD level research going on, but also practitioners coming in to help guide the content and the curriculum to courses and topics that are applicable in real life in the real world that you would use as a practitioner. So blending that academic research and theory with how it fits in the real world and what employers are looking for. For our Finance Academy, there's a course called Experiential Projects in Finance, and you take that course first. And then if you want to continue with the Finance Academy to earn the micro credential, you attend workshops. And those workshops we had last spring, primarily alumni, but not all alumni, come to talk either in person or virtually about topics such as mergers and acquisitions. So we had an alumni who spent his whole career in a private equity shop, and he talked about how to go about buying companies and evaluating those companies. We had another alumni come talk to us about venture capital debt, which was very interesting because I think we all think of venture capital as equity interests in startup companies. But his firm really focused on the venture debt side for a variety of reasons, which I won't go into here, but we can talk about. But that was super interesting. And then we also have a financial modeling workshop done by one of our professors, which is very good to learn more about modeling. Particularly if you didn't take the full course, you can still learn kind of in a crash course in the workshop. And also a few workshops from our Career Resource Center talking about how to build your resume, how to network, interviewing skills, all of the topics that you need to really have a more robust job search. So Finance Academy is an option that is worth considering. Now, the Therese Kelly Investment Group. So this was set up by an alumni, Therese Kelly, as the name implies. She actually was from the School of Library Sciences and was a librarian her whole career, but she saved a lot of money and she was curious about investing. So she started investing in stocks at a young age and over time grew her assets to the point where she could make a significant donation to the school in 2011 to set up a fund under the UB Foundation that would be run exclusively by students. So I lead that group now, and we have just over $1 million value of our portfolio today. And we do stock pitches, and the investment committee within Therese Kelly, the students vote whether or not to buy or sell securities in that portfolio. So it's real dollars in a real portfolio. So this is not an academic exercise to do a stock valuation and a pitch on a company. If it gets approved, it will be executed with real money. And a new initiative we started with another alumni support, Greg Fisher from Quent Capital, was his firm focuses on small cap equities. So he wanted a group similar to Therese Kelly to focus in that exact space. Therese Kelly has traditionally been more large cap stocks in the portfolio. And we thought this was a good balancing act to have a group exclusively focused on small cap research. So really diving in deeper even because small cap companies are often a little less transparent. While they do have public filings, they might not be as robust as large cap companies. So we have to look through a different lens, and qualitative analysis becomes at least as important as quantitative analysis in this space because of that bit of lack of transparency. So we started this in April. We currently have 6 students involved, focusing on this small cap research. And then another thing that I got involved in this past semester, and we started it up over the summer, we call Operation Inspire. It's a mergers and acquisitions project, again, sponsored by an alumni. So he was coming to speak with some finance students about his career in investment banking and doing acquisitions on his own with fellow investors. And he proposed, what if we had a student project that actually goes out to buy a company and learns how to do it, start to finish? So we have 37 students from across the School of Management, including a few from the law school, and we're building essentially a boutique investment bank right here on our campus with our students. And our goal is to do the industry research, identify a target business, engage that company in conversations about possibly doing a transaction, and if they're interested, negotiate the deal, document it. Our legal team comes in with the documentation. Our finance team does the financial due diligence. Our marketing, operations, and strategy teams evaluates the business on the quantitative and qualitative factors. And then we go out and raise capital from third-party investors. And we fund the deal. We work out the optimal capital stack. How much do we want in common stock, preferred, mezzanine debt, senior debt? And then we propose that package to investors, and we get them to invest in the deal, and we close the deal. And once we're successful doing that, we act like a private equity buyer. We will run that business for a number of years and ultimately look for an exit strategy. So then the students will be focused on maximizing value in the company, looking toward that exit to sell it to another PE firm, or perhaps take it public or sell it to a strategic buyer. Super exciting. Honestly, we have not heard of any university in the country, let alone the world, that is doing something this tangible, real money, real life, real impact. So this alone is a great opportunity for students and a great reason why if you're on the fence about joining our program, I think this would push you right over the fence to have an opportunity like this. Professional development. So we do a fair bit of this, but two I want to highlight. We have a Network New York put on by the Career Resource Center and the Alumni Association of the School of Management. That's in January every year. And we host it the first day with a kickoff cocktail party sort of thing that we invite alumni to. And we have alumni stationed around at different tables based on their focus area, whether they're finance, marketing, strategy. And then students can drift between those tables and talk to experts in their fields, alumni, about jobs in that particular industry. So great opportunity. The following days, the school arranges company visits. So as you can see, they visited places in New York, like the Amazon headquarters, Google, IBM, Accenture, et cetera. So the day before that, or the day of that kickoff reception, throughout the day, we do the finance forum. Here again, we have primarily alumni, but not exclusively alumni speakers coming to talk about various topics in finance. The second one on the list, Steve Leisman, if you watch CNBC, you've probably seen his face a million times. One of the senior economic reporters at CNBC is on TV all the time. Dan Greenhouse running hedge funds, James Palmisano running his own investment firm, Early Albany Salim doing credit risk management, Jorge Sobahart from Citigroup, who does his PhD in finance. He's written a book or two, deep research in credit and risk management for large multinational banks. And actually, John Doyle had to cancel. We did not get him this year, but he's an alumni of the School of Management, and he is president and CEO of Marsh McLennan. Unfortunately, his schedule clashed, but we're hoping to get him next year. So stay tuned for that. And it ties right in with Network New York, as I said. So if you go to the Finance Forum, you get there a day earlier, do the Finance Forum all day, head to the Network New York reception that evening, and carry on for a couple of days in New York City. Again, great opportunities to interact with professionals, senior level professionals, and alumni from the School of Management. We also have our Startup and Innovation Collaborative. So if you're interested more in the startup space, they do the Panache Technology Entrepreneurship Competition. And there is some money available to startups. So think of it like a mini Shark Tank. We've had some students that have participated in that and gotten into the final rounds to help raise capital. In one case, it was for one of the relative startup companies, actually, not one they started personally, but they were involved with their brother in this case. And she was pitching that business in this mini Shark Tank environment. We also have our projects clinics. So these are, think of it kind of like a consulting project. So working with a group of students, engaging with usually a local business. You can see some of them listed there, like one of our largest healthcare systems, variety of local and regional companies. And they come to the project clinic and say, hey, we have a corporate or a business issue we'd like solved. And we would like your students to be our consulting team to help us solve this problem. I think last spring they actually did one with M&T Bank, and M&T Bank said they wanted to expand their footprint and acquire a bank. So the students looked at smaller and mid-sized community banks that could be a good acquisition fit for M&T Bank. And then they do that report to the board of directors or the senior management, not usually the board of directors, I take it back, senior management committees at those organizations. So they're interacting face to face with senior management teams and presenting their findings and their conclusions and recommendations. So another great way to get hands-on experience. And then we have the global programs. So not only global, but you can see down on the bottom, Experience the 50. So some of those happen in the US, some happen outside the US. So there's a variety of different topics. You know, they've been in Singapore, Ghana, London, a variety of other countries around the world. where a small group of students and faculty and staff will go over there for several days or a week and participate in local projects, learn, usually in collaboration with a local university, and get some great experience outside the UB campus. And Experience 50, very similar, just happens to be in the US. And you can see they've done some leadership trips in Chicago, United Nations. So they go to the United Nations in New York City. And then more of the finance and technology options with Silicon Valley, Seattle, and Southern California trips available to students. So that said, career resources. So we have at the university, have a university-wide career service center, but we in the School of Management have our own dedicated team that's focused exclusively on School of Management students. And actually for MS Finance students, Katie Rusick specifically in our Career Resource Center engages directly with our MS Finance students to help them one-on-one. So as you might expect, there's a lot of advising going on, individualized advising, coaching, practice interviews, resume building, and then they do a lot of events and workshops. They do career days where they bring up companies onto campus. Last year they did one. I think they had, I want to say like 30 employers here on campus. They also did another one exclusively with Citibank, where Citibank brought the heads of their various departments. So they had about 6 different tables set up for various areas of Citibank where students could wander around and learn more about the different areas of the bank and the different types of jobs available. So it's a robust resource for our students, and our own School of Management Career Resource Center is dedicated just to our school. And here you can see some of the outcomes. Some of the companies that students have worked at, obviously a short list, not exhaustive. We have our statistics on the right-hand side. 88% of our graduates are employed within 6 months of graduation, and that's fairly robust. In fact, the UB broadly, the MBA program was just ranked number 5th on a list of placements. And I think our MS Finance program, if we were compared to that, would be about as good, if not better. And you can see our salaries. Average salary last year going out of school was just about 93,000, and you can see the high and low. So we do have a great career resource platform, and it's showing success with the placement of our graduates.